From Brighton on the Sussex coast, the news goes out. Urgently, for news is an urgent business. West into Worthing and to Chichester, to Hastings and Rye in the east, and like the ever-expanding ripples on a pond, north to Arundel, to Crawley and beyond. It is a story that is renewed every day, several times a day. The basic ingredients, the formula, remains the same, but the characters, the plots, the comedies and tragedies, and the dramas all change. It is the continuing story of people, of places, of events. It is the newspaper story.
Producing a newspaper daily cannot be achieved without top-level planning. Each morning, the executive team meet under the chairmanship of the managing director to ensure that adequate arrangements are in hand to meet all contingencies. Nerve centre of the news gathering operation is the news desk. The coordination of the reporters based at Robert Street and our district offices are directed from here. It's the reporter's role to cover the area for news, gathering general news, sports, items from the courts, matters of interest to all our readers in whatever field of life they may occupy.
Thank you very much.
Monitoring of the local radio program is another aspect of news gathering. Feature articles are an essential part of a newspaper, and a specialist band of feature writers are employed for this vital task. News from the national and international press agencies is received on a battery of teleprinters in the telecommunication room. Pictures can also be received on a telephotographic apparatus. As soon as it arrives by teleprinter or telephone, the news is whisked by conveyor belt to the sub-editor's desk. Here it is first assessed by the copy taster, who, having decided on its importance, allocates it to one of the various pages set aside for the day's news. He passes it on to the editor, a specialist in the display and presentation of printed matter. Once the copy has been subbed, it makes its way by conveyor belt to the typesetting department. Here you will find the linotype and intertype machines. Each machine has a keyboard rather like that of a typewriter. Each machine has containers called magazines, which house brass molds known as matrix for the different letters. When the lino operator taps the key, the machine releases the appropriate matrix, which fall down narrow channels and in correct sequence, grouping themselves into a line. When a line is completed, it moves to a miniature foundry on one side of the machine, coming to rest against a slot through which molten metal is pumped. The molten metal runs into the matrices and forms a solid metal line, approximately 1 inch deep, with a surface of raised letters. Once the line has been cast, each matrix returns automatically to its own position in the magazine, so that it can be used over and over again. Headlines, because of their size, are usually set by hand. The matrices for each letter are selected from wooden trays and gripped in a special holder. They are then placed in a casting machine known as a Ludlow. As with the linotype, molten metal is pumped into matrices to form a solid line of headline type. But a newspaper is more than just news. Advertising plays an important part. Throughout the day, the tele-ad girls are constantly kept busy taking advertisements over the telephone.
Oh, fine. I'll just give you the invoice then. Could I have your name, please? And your initial, please, sir?
The advertiser's verbal instructions are typed out and sent directly to the typesetting department.
No 4x1. Well, can you knock off the 2x3 then, please? Yeah, I suppose so. I don't know what they're playing at,
The display advertisement team are always on hand to give advice on presentation and to outline the many merchandising services that are available. Representative and artist consult together to ensure that the advertiser's message has the maximum impact. Photographs are retouched and prepared for processing because once a picture has been selected for use, it has to be made into a block called a halftone. This is achieved by converting the picture into a negative consisting of tiny dots by the use of a rotodon camera. The picture is placed in the frame. The camera rotates to permit the negative to be inserted. The negative is developed and printed onto a sheet of zinc, which has a plastic coating sensitive to light. Brilliant illuminations from powerful arc lamps cause the coating on the plate to become insoluble wherever the light passes through the transparent parts of the negative. After the plate is developed, the soluble parts are washed away in water and the plastic image is made acid resisting by a burning in process. Before the plate is finally placed in a bath of acid which eats away the unwanted metal, leaving the dots, which in fact are the picture, standing up in relief, and are the printing surfaces. It's in the composing room that the newspaper begins to come to life. The type has been set, the headlines prepared, the advertisements inserted, and space is left for the pictures. Rather like a giant jigsaw puzzle, the page is gradually assembled. But at this stage, the page is still flat, and rotary printing presses use curved plates. Here, the process of converting the flat form into a semicircular shape begins. The form is cleaned, and the operator makes sure that all the type is flat. A sheet of specially prepared material known as a flong is laid over the form and subject to a pressure of 300 tons at a temperature of 120 degrees Fahrenheit. During the moulding operation, the flong takes the impression of the type in blocks and so becomes a matrix. The matrix is dried into a curved shape in an infrared roaster and then placed in an automatic stereo plate casting machine, where molten metal at 580 degrees Fahrenheit is pumped in. Once cast, the plate is pushed forward onto the machine. Waste is trimmed off and returned for remelting. The plate is water-cooled before the operator examines it for faults. Then it is passed on to the press room by conveyor. Arrival in the press room, the plates are collected by the operators and clamped onto the giant printing presses. They are securely locked into position, guards are put into place, and all is now ready for the run to start. Urgent late news, the stop press, is received direct from the composing room in the form of linotype slugs and clamped into the fudge box, which is then inserted into the machine. It is countdown to running time. In the press hall, massive reels of paper are being locked into position. Now we are ready to run. And the overseer presses the buttons and the great machines leap into life. From a rumble, it becomes a great roar. Below, the new reels are ready so that as one reel is finished, another can take its place. Time is vital, and the changeover must take place as quickly as possible. Skilled operators check and recheck the addition to make sure that the pages are correct. Printed papers are now conveyed by belt to our dispatch department. Here they are counted first into bundles of 25. Then into groups of 100 and conveyed by belt to the packers. Over 40 vans leave the Argus building every day to distribute more than 100,000 copies to our 1,000 selling points. No fewer than 5 editions circulate through the county, including a 5 p.m. night final, to keep readers right up to the minute with the latest stories and results of the day. Special editions are expressed to London Bridge and Victoria stations, to Chichester in the west, to Crawley in the north, to Hastings and Rye in the east.